Gentle, storytelling music begins. Hello, little explorers, and welcome to our story corner. Today, we're journeying into a lush, green forest to meet a very special friend. His name is Benny, and even though he was the smallest bear in his family, his dreams were as big as the tallest trees. More than anything, Benny wanted to be brave. He watched the big bears with their mighty roars and strong paws, and he'd practice puffing out his chest, trying to look just as courageous. One day, he'd whisper to the fireflies, "I'll be brave like them." He thought bravery was all about being big and strong, something he felt he wasn't. But soon, Benny was about to discover what being truly brave really means. One sunny afternoon, a strange chill filled the air. The leaves began to dance wildly, and the sky turned a grumpy shade of gray. A powerful wind started to howl through the forest, whistling and whooshing, making the tall trees bend and sway. Benny, who was out looking for sweet berries, scurried for cover under a large, mossy rock. The wind was so strong it felt like the whole forest was holding its breath. It bent branches and sent leaves spiraling everywhere. Benny huddled, his small body trembling a little, listening to the symphony of the storm. He had never heard the wind sound so angry before. It was a bit scary, but also a little exciting. As the wind began to calm, just as the sun peeked out from behind the clouds, Benny heard something unusual. It wasn't the chirp of a bird or the rustle of leaves. It was a tiny, faint sound, like a soft cry. "Help! Help me!" it whimpered. Benny's ears perked up. He poked his head out from under the rock. The forest was messy, with twigs and leaves scattered all over the ground. He listened again. "Help!" The cry was a little louder this time. Benny's heart started to beat a little faster. Someone was in trouble. Forgetting all about being small, he knew he had to find out who it was. He followed the sound, his nose twitching, leading him deeper into the woods. He padded carefully over the scattered leaves, his eyes scanning every direction. The little cries grew clearer and clearer. Finally, behind a large oak tree, he saw it. A huge branch, heavy with leaves, had been torn from the tree by the wind and had fallen to the ground. And trapped right underneath it was a tiny baby rabbit, her long ears drooping sadly. She was trying to wiggle free, but the branch was just too heavy. Tears welled up in her big, brown eyes. "I'm stuck," she sobbed when she saw Benny. Benny looked at the giant branch, and then at the tiny, scared rabbit. His own paws started to shake. The branch looked so heavy, and he was so small. How could he possibly move it? For a moment, Benny felt that familiar feeling of being too small. He remembered watching the big bears lifting heavy logs with ease. "I can't do it," he thought. But then he looked at the little rabbit's frightened face, and a new feeling washed over him. It wasn't about being big or strong. It was about helping someone in need. He took a deep, shaky breath, just like he'd seen the big bears do. He walked up to the branch, planted his paws firmly on the ground, and pushed. He grunted and groaned, pushing with every bit of strength he had in his little body. At first, nothing happened, but Benny didn't give up. He took another breath and pushed again, harder this time. Slowly, ever so slowly, the branch began to move. It scraped against the ground, just an inch at first, then another. Benny pushed with all his might, his muscles straining. With one final, mighty shove, the branch rolled just enough for the baby rabbit to scramble out from under it. She was free. She shook the dust from her fur and hopped over to Benny, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Oh, thank you, she chirped. "You saved me. You're so brave, Benny." Benny looked at his paws, then at the happy little rabbit. He didn't feel small anymore. He felt big. From that day on, Benny the bear understood. Bravery wasn't about the size of your body, but the size of your heart. It was about kindness and helping others, no matter how small you are. And so, Benny became the bravest bear in the forest, not because he could roar the loudest, but because he always had the courage to care. Thank you for joining us for Benny's brave adventure. If you loved our story, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and subscribe for more tales from the forest. See you next time, little story lovers.